Howdy folks, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be diving into the January-February 1938 turn. The last couple of turns saw quite a bit of developments. The Japanese-Chinese war has started through the Peking Bridge incident. Last turn there was 5 bidding major powers, of which only 2 had a go. So there will be some bonus bid points for those major powers. And it was the beginning of the year, so there were also force pool increases. So without further ado, let's get into it. Before I go over starting money for the major powers, I just want to quickly go over how U.S. entry works. It's basically a number of points charged to each major power or accumulated under each major power for certain political activities and military activities on the board. And how that works is I just record the amount underneath each major power, like Germany, Italy, Japan, Commonwealth, so forth and so on. And then you apply this formula up here, like for the fascists, it's the target major powers U.S. entry, which in this case we're looking at Germany's, which is going to be 18. And then it's plus half all other fascists, which would be half of the Italian and Japanese totals. From that, you subtract the U.S. total, which is over here is 12, and then half all other major powers, which would be the total between the Chinese, which is 0, the Russians, the French, and the Commonwealth. And if you do all that math, you come up with a modified score for Germany of 15.5. So the raw total is not really reflective of what their U.S. entry values are. And depending on what the total is, the U.S. has a number of different options they can choose for. I think the lowest total one, I think is around 34, 35 or something like that. It's in the 30s. And so that's basically how that works. Right now, Japan is rolling every turn for war with a democracy, and that's over here. Come over here and look at that real quick. It's that table right there. War with a democracy. It hasn't been at war with a year yet. There's only one major power at war with a Democrat, which they consider the Chinese a Democrat. And because the Japanese use the Peking Bridge incident, which is JA6, they get a -1 from the die for each turn, for each time they roll to this table here. So anything with a -1 that's a less than a 4 is going to be a -1 to their U.S. entry, which is reflective. The Japanese rolled a 1 and a 2 the last 2 turns, which is reflective on these totals right here. So okay, let's go take a look at what the major powers have for money and what they might be doing this turn. Let's head over here. Okay. Starting money for the major powers. Let's get this. Oh, there we go. All right. Starting money for the major powers is Germany has 5, Japan has 1, Italy is -1, the USSR is at 0, the Commonwealth is at -2, France is at -1, the USA is at -2, and China is at 0. Now, January, February for 1938, there are 5 major powers that have the opportunity to gear up. Those major powers are Germany, the Soviet Union, the Commonwealth, France, and China. China's already got a bump up because of her war with Japan, so I don't think you'll see China gear up this year. But the other major powers are all eligible for gear ups at the standard cost. So I've recorded the bids for the major powers. We cut Germany, bid 1. She gets a +4 for being in first place, political initiative. And last turn she did bonus bid points, which gives her a +10. It's twice her political effectiveness. In this case for Germany it's 5. That's political effectiveness. So it's twice that, so she gets 10 points for that, so her total bid is 15. She actually considered trying to do 2 options this turn, but rejected it in lieu of the fact that she also knows the Commonwealth got increased bid points, which is the next bidder. Commonwealth bid 1. She got 3 for her second place initiative position and 6 for bonus bid points for a total of 10. In order for Germany to secure first place and do 2 bids or 2 political options, that total that she has is half. So she would have had to really spend a lot of money to try to keep first place and do 2 political options. So she thought about it and rejected that notion. Okay. Third major power who bid was Japan. She bid 1 point. It's a theme here, pretty much 1. She gets 4 for her. She gets 4 for her bonus bid points because she didn't get to do a political option, even though she had bid for one last turn. And she gets 3 for her current political position, which is 3rd. Next up is Italy. Italy also bid 1. She gets 2 for her 4th place initiative position and 3 for bonus bid points because she also did not get to do a political option even though she had bid for one. And last up is France. France bid 1. She gets 2 for her 5th place political initiative and 3 for bonus bid points because, again, she didn't get a chance to do a political option last turn. The French actually have to do an election from last year. They didn't do their election for 1937, so that's, if it gets to the French, because they're going to be last, the tiebreaker for Italy and France ended up being their current political initiative positions. So she will have to end up doing an election this turn. So let's see what the Germans up first. Let's see what they're going to do. What Germany is going to do is gear up. Okay, German gear up, option 2. This option can only be played if A, you are a fascist. That's right there. Or the current year is greater than or equal to the year specified on the PM track. We went over that in the previous video. Or the Commonwealth, France, USA, Russia's PLM is above yours. Do not gear up to a PLM higher than your peacetime maximum. There's one of the boxes over there has a little peace symbol on it. You can't go higher than that, basically. So the cost for this was 10, which is pretty expensive. The US entry is going to be a +9, which is a good amount. And there are a lot of miners who are affected by this. So I've already put all these markers out and recorded the US entry. So all we have to do is activate a miner and then roll to see if Germany ends the political phase. I think who Germany is going to pick is Finland. Got a 4 German and a 4 Soviet. +4 for the German and -4 for the Soviets. Let's go over to the status display. Okay. Page it a little bit. Alright. So we got, I'll put them up here. We got 4 German and -4 Soviet. So the Soviet ones, I put the I actually dug out Finland from the bottom because they always seem to be on the bottom, and put it on the top. So basically the Soviet one is going to push it this way. Now the German player is moving the marker. As long as the marker ends up further away from the Soviet marker for a minus influence, then it can either go, it doesn't have to necessarily go straight away. It could go here, here, here. As long as it's further away for this -4, it will end up being 2 hexes. But I don't think it's going to make a whole lot of difference. I think I'm going to activate the German one first. Yeah, so we're going to go 2. 1, 2 hexes, so that's 2, 4. So that expends the German one. Now the Soviet one. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it could go either here or here. It can basically, by using the -4 Soviet marker, could basically force the Finnish marker into the fascist ideology, and I think that's what we're going to do. Because this is 8 and this is 8, so it doesn't make any difference, and the rules actually don't say it has to go immediately away, and I think that's how we're going to do it this time. I think that's a good option for the Germans. So that actually pushes Finland into the fascist ideology, which actually makes sense. The Finns and the Soviets, they definitely did not get along in this time period. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to roll to see if Germany ends the political phase. One political option has been played. So it's going to be, no political options have been previously played. So it's going to be a straight up 1. Well, not with that roll. Big old 9. Now we'll move on to Britain, the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is going to do the same thing that Germany did. They're going to gear up. It's a Commonwealth option 2. This option can be only played if you are fascist, they are not, or the current year is greater than or equal to the year specified on the PM track, which it is. So the Commonwealth's gear up year is 1938 for this level. So I've already put out the markers for the minor countries and recorded the US entry. The cost is, for the Commonwealth, $10. Another really steep option. So the last thing the Commonwealth, last thing the Commonwealth's going to do before she rolls in, see if she ends the political phase, is activate a minor. And I think she's going to activate Poland. She's got a nice +4 in there, so it should move the marker somewhat. Collect up the markers. We'll come over here to the status display. We got the -1 German. We have a -2 Soviet and a +4 Commonwealth. So I don't really think it's going to make too much difference. We'll use the German one first. That just blows that off. It's nothing. The Soviet one is going to push the marker this way. Can't go this way because it's going to be the same distance as it is right now. So it's going to go 2. It's not going to be any further from Germany. It's not going to be any further from the Commonwealth. So it will go 2. Yes, it will go 2. Because Poland has a treaty with France, not the Commonwealth. So 8, 7, 8. So it's no further away. So yeah, it can move there. And why do I say that? Because Poland has a treaty with France. That means whenever the marker moves away from France, a treaty, an alliance, major power that has an alliance with it, it costs an extra point. Poland also has an alliance with Germany, so when Poland's marker moves for the Commonwealth, towards the Commonwealth, you have 4 points. Usually costs 2 for a hex. The alliance with Germany is going to cost an extra 1, so it's going to cost 3 for that hex. And the other point doesn't do anything. So the last thing we do is we roll the die to see if the Commonwealth ends the political phase, which would probably make the other major powers really angry. Well, not with that roll. That's a 10. So, move the last card marker down to Japan. See what Japan's going to do. Japan is going to do Japanese option 6, Peking Bridge Incident. This is the option that she had done reactively. So this is her first chance to do a political option. She has to do this option. I've already paid the money. I've already done the US entry. I've already done all the minor chits. All she has to do at this point is activate a minor. And I think she's going to choose to activate Siam. There's a lot of markers in here, a lot of negatives for the Democrats and a lot of positives for Japan. So let's go see, let's go over to the status display and see how this pans out. All right. Here are the markers. We got Commonwealth -6. That's pretty steep. Soviet -1, a US -2, and 7 points for the Japanese. Now, this is actually going to make a difference how I do this. If I do the 6 for the Commonwealth, that's going to 3, and 2 more for the US, puts it way down here. And then I got 7 for Japan, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Brings it to here. Let's see, if I activate the Japanese first, it's going to be, I can either go this way or this way. So I'll go 2, 4, 6 to here, lose 1 point. Then we got 2 for the US, we can go here. And then we have 6 for the Commonwealth. Well, this would be 3, 4, 5. It'd be 5 to there. Yeah. And then it's just 2 points away. I don't have a tree, it's 4 points away. Okay, I think that's what Japan's going to do. We're going to use the Japanese first. Grab the marker here without knocking everything over. Oh, almost. There we go. One too many. Alright, so 2, 4, 6. And we lose 1 point. Then we're going to do the Russian, the Soviet, and 1 point doesn't do anything. Then we're going to do the American. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. Alright, so we'll push it right here. Then the Commonwealth, we'll go this way. We have 6 Commonwealths, so we're going to go, takes 2 plus 1 to cross the boundary is 3. And then another 2 plus 1 to cross the boundary is 3 more for a total of 6. So that's not bad. Japan managed to drag Siam pretty deep into the fascist ideology. The last thing Japan does is see if she ends the political phase. This will really make the Italians and French mad. Nope. Got a 6. So we will continue. We will see. Move the last card marker down to France. Italy. And we'll see what the Italians want to do. Italy's going to do a minor economic agreement. At first, she was going to sign it with Spain, but then I realized that Spain's willpower, because the major powers initiative must be less than or equal to the minor's willpower. Well, Spain's willpower is 3. And Italy's initiative position is 4. So it can't actually do that. So we're going to go with option B. We're going to sign it with Portugal, because Portugal's willpower is actually a 4. So I can sign the agreement with Portugal. So now Italy will pay the money, and then she will get to activate a minor. Okay, let's go over to the status display. Okay, I think what we're going to do is activate the minor that we signed the economic agreement with. Let's see how that's going to work. Don't fall over. Collect up the markers. Got a couple of 1s. We got 3 points for Italy. All right, Portugal has an alliance with Great Britain. So whenever the marker moves further away from Great Britain, it's going to cost an extra point. So let's see. Let's activate the one Commonwealth one. It still takes 2 points to move, even though they have an alliance, because they're outside the ideology. Let's activate the Soviet -1. Let's activate the Japanese -2. And that's going to move the marker 1 hex away from Japan. That will be there. And then we have 3 Italian. Basically, it's going to cost 3 points to move back into the original hex, and that's what we're going to do. Now, the last thing that Italy has to do is roll to see if she ends the political phase. See, there's been 3 previous, so that's going to be... yeah, actually, a roll of 3 will end the political phase. Yeah, that's right. That's a 0. We only need a 1, so the political phase is over. So the French did not get a chance to go, so they will get bonus bid points for next turn. They still owe an election for 1937. Great Britain, I believe, owes an election this year, and France will owe an election for 1938. So, not a good sign for the French. Not a good sign at all. Okay, I'm going to roll the weather and initiative, and we'll be right back with reinforcement. Initiative came out to be 3 for the Democrats, a 1 for the Soviet Union, and a 10 for the fascists. The Democrats have a -1 to the initiative roll, so that's a net 2, and the communists have a +2 to their roll, so that's a net 3. So the Democrats ended up losing. The fascists won. They decided they were going to go last because with a +2 to the weather die roll for this turn, it's pretty obvious that the weather's not going to be very good. The communists decided to go second, and that leaves the Democrats first. The weather roll was a 10, which is about as bad as it gets. So we have blizzard in the Arctic, blizzard in North Temperate. Well, with the +2, it's a 12. Blizzard in the Mediterranean, rain in the North Monsoon, storm in South Monsoon, and storm in South Temperate. So basically, there's going to be nothing that's going to happen on the board. The weather is just too bad. Anything that moves is going to get flipped over, and the impulse marker is going to go up 4, and there's a +3 to the next weather rule. So the weather's not going to get any better. It's just going to be bad. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you the reinforcements that are coming for this turn. And then I'll probably run through the turn and it will pick up at production. Let's see what we got for reinforcements here. Well, the Chinese got a lot of reinforcements. They got I'm going to put them over here. Got a Communist Infantry Division, a Chongqing Militia Army, and a Nationalist Infantry Army. We have 1 pilot for the Germans. Put that on the track. We have 1 fighter coming on board. BF 109B. I'll put that in reserve pool for now. We have a French fighter coming on board, a D500, that will go in a reserve pool. It's a pretty bad fighter. We have a sub for the Germans coming on the board. What is that? Type 2B. We have a couple of combat air groups, 1 for Japan, 1 for the US. I think those are all going to go in the reserve pool. Convoy point for the Japanese, convoy point for the Americans, a convoy point and a tanker point for the Commonwealth, a tanker point for the Soviets. We have the Yorktown coming on the board. We have the Aquila coming on the board for the Italians, and the Tirpitz will join the German fleet. I'll get those on the board, and I'll run through the turn, and if anything happens that isn't just nasty weather, then I'll break and I'll record that. Other than that, we'll probably pick up at production. Okay, the turn ended after one set of impulses. The Democrats ended up ending the turn after they rolled for weather, which wasn't much better than the turn before. So it was a rather short turn. Not a lot got done on the board. Nothing to really mention because the weather was absolutely atrocious. I did roll for partisans. I've been rolling for partisans since the Soviets took Persia. There's no partisans in China because there's no place to put them right yet. However, the last partisan roll came up with a partisan going into Persia. The garrison value, the garrison value in Persia is 4. There are 2 core-sized units there, which subtract 2. The die roll was a 1, which puts a partisan there. So now the Soviets got a partisan to deal with in Persia. It is right on their line of communication, right there. So it cuts supply to at least the unit down on the Gulf Coast. Alright, let's go over production. There was some changes in production. I don't know if I can get this thing set here. There we go. Yeah, that's not good. There we go. That's good. Alright. So the Germans' production now is 12. They started with 6 for this turn, and they spent 3 on a sub, a combat air group, and a garrison unit. The Japanese production was 5. They started with 5, and they spent 7. They built a headquarters, a convoy point, and a tanker point. The Italians produced 3, started with 1, and spent 4. They built a convoy point and pulled a transport out of the construction pool. The USSR produced 3, started with 3, spent 2. They built the Cav Corps. Stalin wants to make sure he has enough money to gear up next turn, so they had to save a little bit. The Commonwealth produced 11. Their production is almost equal to Germany's right now. They started with -2, so all they did was build convoy point and a tanker point. The French produced 3, started with 1, spent 2, another garrison unit. The US produced 3, started with 1, spent 3, pulled the Idaho out of the construction pool. China produced 3, started with 3, and spent 3. Built a Cav Corps and a Communist garrison division. I will get these guys on the circle, and I might roll into March, April. So I'll be right back. If not, I'll be just uploading this video.